The moment you say it's okay for them to violate the law to shut down this one agency, you have said it is okay for them to violate the law and shut down anything. Anything. If they can do this with USAID, they can do this with the Department of Ed. If they can do it with the Department of Ed, they can do it with Head Start. If they can do it with Head Start, they can do it with Medicaid. If they can do it with Medicaid, they can do it with the Social Security. They can do anything. USAID was established by the United States Congress. It cannot and should not be eliminated on the whims of a president or his unelected billionaire friend. Shutting down USAID or pausing its work will have devastating global and potentially irreversible consequences, but the biggest consequence will be to us. It is the world's largest provider of humanitarian aid, and through it, the United States saves countless lives every year. I have to say, as I've had the opportunity as chair of the Intelligence Committee, and even prior to that position in the House, to travel to some of the most dangerous parts of the world, to Iraq, to Afghanistan, to Pakistan, to Yemen, you name it. I've met these USAID employees, the ones that just got this order, you need to get on a plane and come back, you're on leave, whether you like it or not. I've met these folks. They're so patriotic and passionate about their work and such dedicated public servants. I remember being in Afghanistan fairly early in the war, and I met this young man with USAID. He looked to me to be in his early 20s. His deployment was for 1 year in Afghanistan. He'd only been there for a few months. And these folks were operating without much of a safety net. In order to be effective, they needed to be out in the villages. They couldn't just stay on their base. They had to be out, exposed. And this USAID worker, this young man, he'd been there only for a few months of a 1-year deployment, and he told me he'd already signed up for his second year. And I remember saying, wow, that's pretty impressive. You like it here, you like your work that much where you've only been here for a few months and you've already decided you're going to re-up for another year? And he said, no, it's not that. We're in the development business. You really can't see the fruits of your labor in a single year. I want to be here long enough where I can see the result of the projects that I'm working on. I can see them come to fruition. This was the kind of public servant that populates USAID all over the world. This is the kind of public servant, I don't know if this young man is still with USAID, but if he is, wherever he is in whatever part of the world where he's doing God's work, just got an email saying, you're on involuntary leave. Thank you for nothing. Don't let the door hit you in the backside on the way out. Sincerely, Uncle Sam. What a hell of a way to treat people. These folks at USAID, they're stopping diseases from spreading. They're helping to feed communities that are starving. They're showing the United States cares about people around the world, cares about others, that the most powerful nation in the world hasn't forgotten about the most powerless communities in the world. USAID represents decades of soft power that the United States has built, that has shown allies in developing nations that we stand by them in crises, building partnerships that last, protecting our national security. I remember visiting Pakistan. Now, Pakistan probably doesn't have a lot of great things to say about the United States much of the time, which I think and I recognize is frustrating. When you're trying to help and doesn't seem like anything you do is enough. I get that. I totally get that. But I remember when an earthquake struck northwest Pakistan, and American helicopters were helicoptering in relief. And a toy became very popular in Pakistan, and it was a replica of an American helicopter, because we suddenly became associated with helping people in their time of need. Probably the single most valuable diplomacy we had done in years. I guess we're not going to do that anymore.